human journey, I don't like to act like I'm this person that's set aside and I've been through this and I've been through that. We've all been through something. We've all had our own traumas. And but the one thing that I have learned is that embracing love will heal everything. I'm telling you, because and hanging out in the now, instead of worrying about tomorrow, stressing about yesterday, sometimes, sweetheart, even stressing about 5 minutes ago wrecks your moments. And that's the only time that's guaranteed. Hey.
Chef Babette, it's so great to have you on the show. Thanks for
Thank
being
you,
here.
baby. Thank you.
You know, we connected. We're doing this thanks to Shabnam,
Yeah.
who I met. Yes, I met her for the first time in person last June at the Vegan Women's Summit in New York.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it was like we hit it off, and I hadn't realized that you guys had only known each other for like maybe a little over a year, because when I see you guys doing things together, it's like you've known each other your whole lives.
Yeah, she's like a really good buddy of mine. She's a sweetheart. So
She really
I love
is.
her. I love her.
And speaking of, well, she's also your trainer. What is your plank hold record at this point?
You know, I can still do the 8 minute. I can
Yeah.
still do the 8 minute plank. I do it, however, it's like sometimes I'm on my forearms, and sometimes I'm up on my arms, and sometimes I'm doing the side plank, but all together I can hold it for 8 minutes. So I told myself, you better get that 8 minute plank and make sure you got it down before somebody asks you to get down and do it, and you can't. So I made sure at least I can do 8 minutes.
That's incredible. Incredible. Well, I want to get one thing off my chest before we really dive in.
Okay, get it off, girl.
Well, no, I kind of was jotting down while I was preparing for this, and here are my thoughts. You know, it is so remarkable that you're 73, doing the intense workouts that you do, running your restaurant, traveling, speaking, appearances, all these things. But what really blows my mind, honestly, about you is just how your beauty, it really radiates, and it radiates from deep within your heart, your soul. And it's emotional because I hear it when you speak. You really embody this unconditional love. And it's really extraordinary, especially considering, you know, what you've been through in your life, the trauma that you've experienced in your lifetime. Can you talk just a little bit about how, you know, and I talk about how we need to heal ourselves in order to best help heal the world, right?
Right.
What do you attribute your ability to not only heal from those past traumas, but to embody this love and be so generous and willing to share?
You know, thanks for asking that question. It really is a great question. This human journey, I don't like to act like I'm this person that's set aside and I've been through this and I've been through that. We've all been through something. We've all had our own traumas. And but the one thing that I have learned is that embracing love will heal everything. I'm telling you, because and hanging out in the now, instead of worrying about tomorrow, stressing about yesterday, sometimes, sweetheart, even stressing about 5 minutes ago wrecks your moments. And that's the only time that's guaranteed. Once I understood that I had the power to go where I wanted to go, I have that power. Then I understood you don't have to be, you don't, even though you may be sad for this moment, you know how to reel it in, you know, because if I was holding on to everything that, you know, that I've been through and angry with everybody, look, girl, look, this is my fourth husband.
Mhm.
3 of the people I was with are dead. So, I mean, and they, and a few of them were really horrible people.
Mhm.
But what if I was still angry and upset about that? It's a journey. It's an experience. The human experience is awesome because everything I go through, I learn from it, and then I share. Even the horrible, despicable people that have been in my past, they act like spiritual guides to me now. Now they've shown me what to stay clear of, what to stay away from, and so I just chalk it up as I'm doing the same thing you're doing, sweetheart, on a human journey. And I just allow the intelligence to shine through me. That song in church we used to sing, "This Little Light of Mine." I just feel like, why not be that vessel? Why not allow that which created all of this to express through me? And so, yeah, I don't know if I answered your question,
You
but
did.
that's where I am right now. That is.
At what point did that kind of become clear to you, the whole love, embodying
Isn't
love
that,
thing?
I know, huh? I started going to a spiritual center, and I think I hooked up with Ron, and so this was in the 90s. I met my husband in 1990. We got married in 92. So actually, it was the late 80s.
And he was number 4. He was number 4.
The one I'm with now, yeah, he was number 4.
I mean,
and that was in 1990. We got married in 92. But I went to this spiritual center. It wasn't like a Christian church. It was just a spiritual center. And I learned so much there as they were speaking. When you're yelling at me and you're telling me all that stuff that's in the book and all that, I never grabbed it. But as this person, it was Reverend Dr. O.C. Smith, as he began to speak to me, I totally got, and he spoke to me. I mean, and this guy, like, do you know Michael Beckwith?
Not personally, but I
okay.
Absolutely, yes.
Reverend
Agape
Michael,
Center. Yeah.
Reverend Michael is amazing. But when I first walked into Agape Spiritual Center, Reverend Michael was saying words. I was like, what does that word mean? What was it? Reverend Dr. O.C., it didn't matter what, if you had a 3rd grade education like my mother, or if you had your master's, you would understand what he was saying to you. And that is when I began to open up and connect myself with the whole. That was when I began to understand that I was created by the same intelligence that created all of this, and I cannot separate myself from it, or I'm one with everything. And man, as this guy spoke to me, I began to grow and grow, and it just started changing who I was. And I began to learn to forgive.
I just jotted down the word forgiveness because I wanted to ask you. Isn't it so
important? Isn't forgiveness like the most important? My husband and I, there have been times when we've been together since 1990, 2024. He's 75, I'm 73. And we have this business together. And he sometimes can be Mr. Grump. And I can remember he and I going at it. And if you ask me tomorrow, what were you guys yelling about? 9 times out of 10, I can't even tell you. Such a waste. So when I talk about, I'm not running 100, okay? But to be able to remind myself, even if I have to say, I am very sorry to you for my behavior. And he'll say, I want him to say me too, but he'll say, okay. So, but he forgives easily. He forgives, he lets it go really, really quickly. And so I've learned to do that. It's just easier. Life is just easier if you're just not holding on to all the crap.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And well, there's, there's this little things day to day. There's also the big things. And you're talking about staying in the present. And do you think there's value in kind of revisiting past wrongs and doing active work, like being proactive about doing the work to forgive people in the past that maybe you're holding on to? Is that something is that work you did very intentionally?
Honey, I do not. I have forgiven everybody in my past. Everybody. I don't look at anybody with any kind of anger or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I'm so glad you brought this up. Somebody that I work with yesterday, you know how you can be so confused by a person's meaning during a text message.
Sure. Yes.
And on yesterday, I went to Grump because anyway. And so I did not want to hear or to read the person's response because I already knew where it was going to go. And I just didn't want to read it. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to feel any kind of way about it. And when I saw that person today, I hadn't read that response. But when I opened my iPad today, I saw the response. It was there. And so rather than reading it, I erased it. You understand? Because we were fine today. Yesterday was yesterday. I did not need to revisit that because I might have read that message, and in an effort to feed my ego, I may have said something to her and drummed it all up again unnecessarily. I'm at home now. She's at work. I'm at home. We're good to go. Right. We didn't talk about it. It's over. It's done. And so I've learned to do that. I've learned to do that because do you ever get that feeling if you're in something that's not loving, it kind of makes you feel a little nauseous? Like, I don't like that. I don't like going there. I don't like going there. It's just much easier to let it go and move on. And, it's just so much easier. I wish everybody understood that.
And it really is. Forgiveness is one of those things. It's for us too. That's an act of self-love.
Ourselves, yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And to forgive others is an act of self-love.
Exactly.
Because it's hurting us.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes. It doesn't make it easy. It doesn't make it easy. But
you got it. You got it 100%. That was why I didn't read that message. I was like, that's over. We were at work today. I needed her to do something. She did it. We didn't bring it up. It was done. It was a wrap. Why do I need to read this now and revisit that? Go back there. I don't want to go back.
Speaking of not going back, I would love to, for those of you who don't know, and maybe most people know by now, kind of your journey. I mean, you've had so many chapters in your life. First, I mean, good gracious, how many career paths you've taken. I mean, airlines, hairstylist, singer in Tokyo, floral arrangements, balloon designer, actor. I mean, I feel like I could just...
So many things. Is that cool or what?
That's so cool.
I've done so many. It's really pretty. It's pretty funny sometimes when I think about it. And the way that I wound up with this career was meeting my husband, and he's sharing the first vegan meal with me, and we hook up, and then we decide, I bet people would really like this. Reverend Michael let us come over on his parking lot. We were feeding people every Sunday, and here we are. And so I knew when I went to Japan, though, when I was meditating and, Japan, just because everybody else was practicing, writing songs and rehearsing, and I was working out, going shopping for food and meditating. And I knew when I got back to the States, singing was not going to be it. I knew that. I said, I'm going to start a catering company. And that's what did.
That's incredible. You know, I I went through a whole burnout last year and went to Peru and did ayahuasca, came back, and I started listening to the Ram Dass Here and Now podcast. And one of the things that he said that his guru would always tell him when he said, how do I do it? How do I get enlightened? He would say, feed people. Is what that response was.
How nice is that?
Right? And that's what you're doing. And do you feel like that's your call? Like if you said, this is my purpose, my calling.
And not just to feed people,
right,
but because the universe has allowed me to be so healthy for all of these years. I was such a sick person when I was younger.
Tell us about that.
You know, just a little girl, earaches, eczema, asthma. I'd catch, oh man, I've had impetigo so many times. I've had it in my hair where my mom had to cut all my hair off as a little girl because I've got this pussy impetigo in my hair. Just a hot mess when I was little. And scared about a lot of things too, you know, because of the things that I had gone through with adults. Every adult, you leave your kid with some adults you should not be leaving your kid with. You got to know who you're entrusting your child with. And scared to tell, you know, things happened to me. I wouldn't tell my mommy. I can remember one time my godparent that I lived with, she wanted me, I was like in 3rd grade, and she brought spelling words home for me. She was did janitorial work at Venice High School. So she brought these words home to me. I'm in 3rd grade. And if I didn't get every word correct when she asked me to spell them, she would punish me. Back in the 50s, ladies did not wear pants to school. So the best way that she could humiliate me, I missed 2 words. I'll never forget, COARSC and COURSC, course, in course. And she made me wear pants to school.
Wow.
That was the most humiliating thing that I can remember walking to school, and I can remember the kids, I had rolled them up and put my coat on so I could wear my coat all day. And I can remember girls going, don't laugh at her. Maybe all her dresses were dirty. And they were, you know, I'm going through that. And then the next day at school, the teacher makes an announcement in the front of the class. Ladies, remember, you cannot wear pants. And when I get home that day after school, my godmother's leaning on the counter. I'll never forget this. Eating, I think, a piece of bread. And I know she's laughing at me and go, how was it wearing your pants to school? And so I just going through things like that as a child, I would not, you know what I told my mother? I said, godmother made me wear pants to school the other day, but we were making adobe bricks, so we needed to wear pants. I covered for her.
Wow.
I covered for her.
Wow.
So I know. And so you can see what my spirit was.
Yeah.
Just always, I never wanted to start the trouble. I didn't want to be the one to start the trouble. And so I don't know, I going through all of that stuff, and then I would get into relationships and know somebody a hot second and be like, okay, want to get married?
Just like that.
And I wind up with 40s guys, you know, and then going through the drug thing, you know, and the crack was like, because that was the only thing that I'd ever done. And that thing, it's like you're hooked as soon as you do it. Like if you do it right and you get that feeling, it's almost like, whoa, can I do this for the rest of the week? And that was a very debilitating, weird time in my life. That time was really, really strange.
How many years was that period?
No, baby, you know, that only lasted me 7 months.
Wow.
I was in Colorado when it started and wound up moving back to Los Angeles. And I can remember the very last time I did that, I was sitting at my mother's house in my old bedroom, but there was no furniture in that room. And I was sitting on the floor. I had been smoking this crack in the room by myself for hours. And I was out of it. And I picked up a piggy bank. And I heard this voice say to me, so that's what you do now. Mm. You go through piggy banks. Girl, I put that thing down. I have not done that since. I went and got myself a job with in reservations with another airline. Hey, I cleaned it up, and I can remember getting a paycheck, and I was driving on the 110 freeway, and I can remember saying, man, I could really get high right now. Mm. And the other voice said, and mess everything up. Mm. And so I never revisited. And I did meditate on it being completely no one ever entering my space that does stuff like that. And I cleaned it up, and that's been, wow, years. Mm-hmm. So, those are blessings to go through those. Right. But and it didn't last long. You know what I mean? It was only 7 months total. Mm-hmm. And I got off that stuff. And I'm so grateful I did. But the experience was the experience when you're crawling around on the floor looking for a crack, or when you pick a paint bubble. I have picked paint off the wall because while I'm in that, it's mm-hmm. looking like crack. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I am so grateful that. And then as I began to learn and read, the first thing Ron did was he gave me some books, Fit for Life and The Mucusless Diet. And I read those books, and that right there began to change my mind. Mm-hmm. And I tell people now, the best thing you can do for yourself is educate yourself. Girl, I did a post the other day. I didn't know we were so weak when it comes to understanding what our food is for. I had no clue that we don't make the connection that the apple is life. Mm. They don't make that connection. Do you know how many people say when you pluck that apple off the tree, it's dead? Mm. And I'm like, but you can take a carrot and cut the bottom of the carrot and the top of the carrot, put it in water, and it will begin to grow. Mm. You've got seeds in that apple that if you plant those seeds, they're going to sprout. I'm like, don't you understand the life in food is the nutrients that the food provides? Mm. Humans and animals need food and water to survive. Mm. And no, do you know how many people argued that point with me? It's dead when you pick it. I don't know why vegetarians think that they don't eat dead food. I was like, okay, whoa.
Well, and I think this goes to also this idea that, okay, there's talking about nutrition and like vitamins, minerals, all that, but there's also this relationship that we have with food, with our bodies.
Yeah, that's true.
With the universe, right? And I think, and you talk about this, and you talk about also like when it comes to your body, I know you've said, I don't know if you still don't get on the scale. You're not worried about like that number, right? I don't have one. I love that. Can you talk? Can you share about why that's the case? Because I think that's so helpful. I think it's so healthy.
It is because, and I don't look at anybody else and try to do me like anybody else. I stay in my lane. And I learned a valuable lesson 2 days before my birthday in December. I got out of my lane. And then I'm going to address that scale thing. Okay. I was at the gym doing my 45-minute spin, and I got that voice that said, you should go get on the treadmill like you used to when you spin. I'm about to be 73. I have not been on the treadmill in forever. I go get on the treadmill. And before, when I used to spin years ago, I do an 8-minute mile. No biggie. Girl, I pumped it up to 7. and sprinted. And then I saw my trainer. So I get off the treadmill, go in the training room. I'm doing my own workout. He's thinking, what are you doing? And I'm just doing everything. I get to work, bend down to get a spider web off the under the sink. And my knee goes crack, snapple, pop.
Oh, shit.
I have been dealing with my knee since my birthday. And I don't have a primary care physician. I don't hang out in doctors all the time. So, I'm on a water fast right now. So It's about to get rid of some of the inflammation and just let me see if this thing will heal on its own before I go to some doctor that wants to put a knife on me. Mm-hmm. So, but staying in your lane is so important. I didn't have to go get on the treadmill. And if I was going to get on the treadmill, I could have walked. Mm-hmm. I could have done a fast-paced walk. But to get on there and be so nuts to turn it up to 7 and sprint.
What were you telling yourself? What were you telling yourself in your brain?
This. I'm strong enough to do. I can do this.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can't. And so when it comes to my health and home, I got rid of the scale because I found myself always referring to the scale. Let me just go to the scale, see how much I weigh. And so now I pay attention to me. I can always tell you how much I weigh. Mm-hmm. Almost exact.
Yeah.
I don't need the scale. And I don't know if it's at 73 or if I've just grown to the point where I eat more for nutrients than I do for anything else. Mm-hmm. My husband's the same. We're not bulky eaters. Like the soul food platter that I sell, it's stuff I eat. Neither one of us can eat it. It's too much. It's almost gluttonous. Now, I can make a handful of nuts a meal.
Right. Yeah.
My juice, that's a meal. Right. A salad, that's a meal. Give me some quinoa with some beets and broccoli, and that's a meal. I don't, and then I'm very careful about eating too much cooked food. Because I know that we'll eat 3 meals a day and not have one live thing on our plate. Well, dead thing, according to all the people.
Dead apple.
I just pay attention to me and how I feel and that sort of thing. And I always want to know, how am I feeling? I get a lot of rest. I mean, even though I wake up automatically 1:30, 1:45, 2 o'clock in the morning, bathroom run, it's time to get up. So I get up, I make sure I get my workout on. I do all the cooking at stuff I eat and prepping at stuff I eat. And then I have the rest of the day to myself to take care of things like this. And you know what I'm saying? But around 5:30, 6 o'clock, when it begins to get dark, my dear is ready to go to sleep.
I love that. I thought I went to bed, and I do go. I mean, I go to bed at like 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Baby, that's early. You're supposed to. That's a good time to go to work, sweetheart.
Thank you.
I mean, it is, because the human body, years ago, I believe thousands of years ago, we went to bed according to when the sun was up and down.
Right.
Some people can't sleep. I sleep.
You sleep good?
Look, I sleep so good. I sleep. It's been kind of jacked with this fast because I'm peeing all night. I feel like I should have bought a box of Depends, and maybe I
that should have come with but it's just water right now, right?
It's just water.
Wow.
Just water. And I'll do that till the 14th, and then I'll go on a detox.
Right. I saw that.
For 30 days.
You guys are doing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, you're full of energy at the moment, it seems like. I mean, wow.
No, I'm really good. I'm so grateful too. Thanks for asking me this, because, and that's one of the reasons I try to share so much.
Yeah.
Is because I have girlfriends that I went to school with and grew up with. I know what they're going through and, that sort of thing, because we took different paths.
Yeah.
made different decisions.
Well, it does seem like you have like the pre-meeting Ron era, and then you've got the post-meeting Ron era. And I want to take it back to that first
That first,
parking lot food cart, right? That you had. Can you share a little bit about like
oh my
how that
God.
came to be?
Okay,
Because that
so
was like the start, right? I
yeah,
mean,
well, actually, I started over at remember I talked to you about Reverend Dr. O.C. Smith. He was the first.
yes.
He allowed me to come to his spot. This was before my husband got involved. This was
Okay.
right after I came from Japan.
Okay.
And he allowed me to feed people after services on Sunday.
Okay.
And so I had about 30 customers that kind of, yeah, it's good. It tastes really good. Because there was another woman there, of course, selling all the chicken, everything that people eat after church.
Mm-hmm.
And then my husband said, would you like for me to get involved with this? And I said, sure, why not? And we wound up over at Agape. And he decided to build this food cart. It was 15-foot food cart. On one side of the cart, we had refrigeration. We had a place where we make our smoothies. We had an area that kept things icy cold. On the other side, we had a griddle. And I mean, it was just this awesome cart. And Reverend Michael allowed us to bring it on the parking lot. And we started developing block-long lines on the parking lot. It was incredible. And all we were serving, the main thing we were serving was wild rice. People love the wild rice tacos. Mm-hmm. And then we started making this enchilada pie and sandwiches. And people just fell in love with it. And we had smoothies available for them every Sunday. So we were the vegan spot to go to on the parking lot. And that lasted, we were there for 6 years.
Wow. Was he vegan,
Sunday.
Michael Beckwith, back then?
Oh, yeah.
I think he's been, I don't know how long he's been vegan.
He's been vegan for a while.
Okay.
Yeah. That was one of the reasons he allowed us to come in. Yeah, because he was. Yeah, it was fun. It was really, really fun.
All right. And then how did that kind of
transfer into the restaurant?
Into the restaurant,
I worked for the airline. So, Ron and I loved Jamaica back in the day. So every time we had a few days off, we'd take us a trip to Jamaica. So we were walking down Market Street. Yeah, we were on Market Street just before we were getting ready to leave to go to Jamaica. And the doors to our restaurant was open. And we went inside, and it just so happened that there was a built-in like steam table. We didn't keep it, but it was the same color as our business cards. And for me, that was an omen. Oh, this place is great. So we asked the guy, man, why don't you let us, we had no money, girl. Why don't you let us rent this place? He was like, no, I'm going to turn this into a Nike kids store. He had a Nike store right next door. And he said, I think I want this to be, I don't want it to be a restaurant. It was a restaurant. And when we got back from our trip, he had called us about 5-6 times and said, come back over and talk to me. And that man let us get in there with last month rent and a little security deposit. And he says, yours, do whatever you think you need to do with it. It took us 4 years to open the doors because Ron wanted to make sure that all the appliances were paid for. And we had to kind of gut it a little bit and fix it up. And girl, that was in 2004. We opened the doors in 2008. And here it is, 2024.
Incredible.
COVID, the whole 9 yards. And we were not restaurant, but Ron is really, he's really frugal when it comes to money. I mean, Ron was the kind of brother that if he went to the store and the tomatoes were too much, we ain't getting tomatoes today. They cost too much. That was kind of the way he rolled. But girl, we made it through. But we had something to bring to the community, and we found and we were blessed with a spot in the community. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, because whenever we went out to eat, we had to drive across town. And because I lived in South Central, which was, it really was just maybe a mile from the restaurant, but it wasn't Inglewood. I actually lived in South Central. And I thought, I'm sure there are so many vegans in this community that would love to have a spot, and especially a spot because we're cooking. Come on now. It was a Black and brown community then. And we're making tacos, burritos, quesadillas, soul food platter. I even make my own burger. You know what I'm saying? We call it the nut burger. And so we felt like we were doing what we needed to do.
Yeah.
It was important. It was an important move. It was a gift to the community.
Yeah. Was it received right away? Did you have to kind of,
Girl, I used to have to beat people up to come in. And look, I can remember people coming in and like, ain't no chicken, ain't no fish. What kind of place is this? And they would walk out. I'd run behind them. Hey, come back here and get a free taco. After I fed that taco to them, and you know what I would do? I would take the rice out of the pan, put it back on the griddle, throw some onion and stuff on there, and make that taco like the best taco they ever had. And they were like, this is delicious, and sit down and buy a whole meal. So
how did Ron feel about you giving away all those tacos?
Yeah, I gave away a whole bunch of tacos, child. Really, I did. You know what else Ron and I used to do was so crazy? We always wanted people to eat. We gave a salad away. We have lost a lot of money giving salads away, but we would give a salad with every meal because I just believe that I believe in eating something live. And we would go around, both of us, we were like the Grump couple. How come you eating everything and you're not eating that salad? Get a to-go bag, take that salad home and eat that salad. People would be like, these people are nuts. But I wanted them the importance of at least having one something that you ingest that you haven't cooked the life out of, you know?
Yeah.
So
yeah. And at what point did you, was there a point that you started to connect also with the animal aspect of being vegan, more than plant-based, but
that girl, once I began to really connect with the whole, then I'm just like, I'm one with everything.
Yeah.
If I hurt that animal, I hurt me. Period. Because it was not about the animals. It was about that rash that would break out in my face every month. It was about my back with all the acne on it because I was addicted to sugar. It was about me. Period. I couldn't digest my food. I couldn't poop. I had issues. And then once I understood the oneness, so you have to understand your connection with the whole. Mm-hmm. This is just an experience, y'all. And once I understood life is what it's about. All life. I have an issue killing spiders in the restaurant. You want to pick them up and put them in a napkin and throw them. Can you go out there, please? Now, cockroaches, a different subject. They're just...
Everybody's got their limits, I guess.
They just kind of
I can't even kill a cockroach, but I
can. You just have a rough time with a cockroach too.
I do. Those flying ones, man. Whoo! We get some big flying cockroaches in Florida.
Funny.
And I will be like with the little, like hiding behind and leap out and try to, it is something else.
The big ones are not as annoying as the little ones. The little ones just have too many babies and they just multiply. I mean, they're just like, if you see one or two in the kitchen, you'd be like, oh God.
Yes. Well, I'm glad I don't have a restaurant to worry about. So I don't have a restaurant.
That's the stuff we really have to keep up with. But yeah.
Well, I want to change gears a little bit to that whole aging thing. Can you're obviously, an incredibly positive and embracing self-love and all of that. What advice do you have, or how would you speak to people? Because I work with a lot of women that have body image issues, and there's certain things that we have control over. We have control over what we put in our bodies and how we treat our bodies. And there are other things that just come along with aging. How do you see aging? What's kind of the lens through which you see and experience aging?
You know, I appreciate and look forward to quality, a good quality of life while I'm on this journey. Longevity is cool. I mean, you know, people can live to 150 if they want, but more important to me, what's more important to me is if I get in the bathtub at 90, can I get out? Do I have to wear the necklace and call the fire department just in case I fall? Can I get up? Quality of life is so very important to me. And so I did one thing that you know how sometimes on this journey you have a few regrets. When I was working with Southwest Airlines as a flight attendant, I had a girlfriend that decided she wanted to get a tummy tuck and get implants. Well, I went with her to the consultation and I thought, well, maybe I'll get some implants. I had a runner's chest, flat. I didn't even need to wear a bra. And I decided to get implants. I wish I had not. I wish I had not, because I was in my 50s then. They're supposed to be changed out every 10 years. I am not trying to have boobs up here at 90 years old. That's just a weird look to me. I don't know.
Not the look you're going for.
I wish I had given that a little bit more thought before I decided to do this, because I didn't need them. I did not have a problem, but I did it anyway. But as it pertains to the changes, I don't look like I looked when I was 50. I live on a beautiful planet and there's gravity. And depending on how we've taken care of ourselves, the melanin, our genes, so many different things will say what this in particular is going to look like. But I'm not doing nothing to my face. I feel like in this journey, I've had the opportunity to have so many different faces, and I'll continue that way. So I have these now. I didn't have them before. I didn't have the little squinty lines, but that means I laugh a lot. Okay, I'm good with that. That's beautiful. In terms of my body, there are areas in my body that I would like. That was why I had gone on the 6-month go hard in the gym, because I wanted my legs to look a little bit different. But that's just all a choice of mine. I'm not sizing myself up with anybody. No. How do I feel? Am I well? Am I taking 15, 16 different meds? Can I go in the gym and work out and then go to work and then do whatever else I need to do? Can I run a hill? Those things are important to me. Aesthetics, I mean, as long as you can love you and you're feeling good, I don't know. I just can't get all beat up on how I'm going to look when I get to be 80. I cannot do it. I will not do it. Now, I've always worn makeup. I like makeup. I wore makeup in high school. I can remember people saying, you look like a clown. I can remember learning to put makeup on and people teasing me. Why you got you look at? And I just always really liked it. So I wear makeup. But now if I start wearing makeup and it doesn't complement me, I will discontinue wearing it. It just depends on what I see for me. But I'm not beating myself up. I'm not trying to look like you. I'm just, I want to be me. I want to stay in my own skin and do me. So I'm not tripping. And I don't think people should fat shame. We are where we are because we're on our own journey. And we all have to experience what it is we have to experience. I talk to my daughter all the time. I love my daughter so much. Love my daughter so much. But food has always been a thing with her. So she wound up with some diabetes that she's dealing with. And she goes back and forth. Sometimes she's just this staunch vegan. Wow, yeah. And then other times she doesn't talk to me about what she's eating because she's a railroader now. So she's probably eating what those railroad guys are eating. And then what it does is she starts feeling weird. She doesn't feel good anymore. And that's how mom knows. But guess whose journey it is? All I can do is say, Trish, you have to be consistent. Got to be consistent with your diet. I can't do anything else about that. Her human journey is her journey. It's not mine. She knows what mom does. And all I can do is be an example, baby. I'm loving my life. I'm loving just how I look. I'm good to go. I can't believe how happy I am with myself.
I love it. And I love one of the things that I hear you say a lot is how you take responsibility for yourself and your feelings. And that must be so important, especially
It
now
is.
with all, I mean,
Oh,
you get a lot of people saying a lot of shit to
oh,
you.
honey.
And is there anything that comes to mind, like anything recent was just because it's got to be hard, even if you are taking responsibility for yourself and your feelings. That has to be hard sometimes.
Let me tell you, I'm gonna tell you one thing that really hurt me. It was Jillian Barry interviewed me, and she took a clip, and this part was out of context. They didn't listen to the whole interview, but I said, I can't jump on top of a cow and tear it apart with my bare teeth, my teeth, and la da 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 da. It's not my diet. I thought people were going to show up my house like they showed up Nancy Pelosi's house.
Oh, geez.
They were horrible. They were so mean to me. They took me back to prehistoric times. They said, you're stupid, you're a clown. And then the last thing that just said, okay, this is really horrible. Somebody said, shut up, little nigga. And I was like, what is wrong with humans? Why are we acting like this? And if we're so cruel to us, animals do not have a chance. We've learned to be so nasty to each other, total strangers. We've learned to be so cruel, so cruel. And that right there, I think that was the one time that I got really, really hurt. Especially doing what it is that I do. I enjoy sharing because I know that I inspire a lot of people, but as I inspire, I'm inspired. So we do it for each other. But to be so angry because I've decided that I don't care to eat decomposing animal flesh, and because I share that in an interview, I'm a clown and an idiot. And in the Bible says you can eat meat. The Bible also says you shouldn't eat meat.
Right.
In Genesis. So, I mean, the Bible says a lot of things. It's a book of allegories. It's like, anyway, I think that was the one thing that hurt me more than anything. Because I'm in a position right now where I have the people in my world, so I'm not getting beat up and hammered like I used to. I mean, I had one man knock me out, cold, cocked, bam, out, like. So I don't have that kind of stuff going on in my world anymore. I got past all that. But so it's just little things that can, because I usually give a lot of love when I'm out. You know what I mean? And I know that, let me tell you, and I'm not doing this, but I'm just sharing how my heart is. I was coming from Home Depot yesterday. I'm driving out. There's a woman there with a stroller, 2 little kids, and she's got a sign. Okay, she needs some help. And I get my coin purse out, and I had gotten rid of all my ones. I usually keep a stack of ones, so if I see somebody need a few dollars, girl, I had gotten rid of all my money. I drove around and went to the 7-Eleven, and I got $40 out, 20 for me and 20 for her. She was shocked that, but I cannot give lest I receive. I'm not afraid to give. I'm not afraid to share. It always comes back. Do you know one time there's a little lady, I always give her something. I stopped at the light at a busy intersection. She was across the street and I got out of my car and ran and gave her the little $6 to go buy a cup of coffee and got back in my car. Do you know when I got home, my girlfriend called and said, Mom wants to know your Zelle. I said, for what? She wants to send you some money, just like that. So we don't need to be afraid to share with one another. What you put out is what you get back. Put out love, you get love back. And so that's how simple it is. You know, that's what I believe in.
I believe that too. Absolutely.
Isn't it so true?
And it's a choice of what we believe, right? It's so beautiful to believe and live from that space.
It is.
It feels damn good, right? Yes. Oh,
I know.
And you know, the other thing I want to kind of start to wrap up here is I mean, you bring so much positivity into this world, and it's a tough world, and people seem to have so much permission these days to be ugly.
To be ugly.
How do you wake up every morning and say, despite all of that, and we want the world to be going in that direction, and yet, to me, tell me what you think. It feels kind of half of the world is really elevating.
Yes.
And the other half is like almost is moving in the opposite. And I'm like, is this game, right, of the world that we live in, that we have to have equal and opposite? So it's something. Baby, I don't know. What do you see?
I'm with you. I feel the same exact way. It is that's exactly the way that I feel. Half of us are operating at a very high frequency, and others of us are like guttered out. It's just amazing to me. It is, and will fight you.
Yes.
I mean, really and truly. Somebody told me yesterday, you don't have to respond to these people, but if I'm in a teaching moment and you're saying something, you're fighting me over something, and you sound ignorant, you don't know what you're talking about, I'm going to have a conversation with you to try to help you get past it. And when people go quiet or erase their comment, they got it.
You see that happen. Okay. And I heard you say your New Year's resolution was, I'm going to do a better job. And I'm like, how are you are doing a pretty damn good job. But you said, I'm going to do a better job at sharing information in 2024. Yes. Plus continuing to practice self-love and self-care.
Yes.
Where did that come from?
You know, we have this right here. We have this. And I understand that I am a vessel. I'm being used. And so I need to, how do people always say it? This is the cool thing they say now. Stay on your purpose. So I'm on my purpose.
Right. So, you certainly are.
And I like it. Like do you meet strangers? Oh, you're stuck. I don't meet strangers. It's like I know everybody. I could give you a hug and just like I've been knowing you forever, because I understand the connection. I don't look at complexion. It's unimportant to me. It's like, aren't you glad the universe created more than just roses, red? Aren't you happy there are so many different flowers out there for us to love and enjoy? And the same thing with, can you imagine a elephant with tusks being pissed off at the elephant without tusks? That's how nuts we are when we get all wrapped up over complexion. We're all the same. Peel the skin back.
Yeah. One last point. Somebody said to me the other day, I was kind of trying to decide whether to go to this. I'm very introverted, so going to
me too.
A party is like painful. Like okay. Yeah. And I'm trying to decide, and the other person said to me, he goes, well, you know, your energy is sacred, so protect it. And I heard that, and talking about living in our purpose, I'm like, if I go to this party and I got vegan written all over me, and
Uh-huh,
and
uh-huh.
I represent what it means to be vegan,
It's
to be
so cute.
loving, to connect with people. Like, that's living my purpose. So maybe it is a little painful, and it's not an easy decision. That's not an easy decision. It's not like, oh, protect, because if I'm too protective, then you miss out on
You
those
miss out.
connections. Those
Yeah, right.
connections are everything.
Right.
We
They
can
are.
but knowing that, then I got to recharge. I got to recharge alone. How do you see that?
I see it the same way. And we're on the same page with that. Seriously. Yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed you're an introvert. I mean, everybody says, like, I can't believe you're an introvert. I'm like, I'm an introvert.
I love hanging with me.
Yes.
I love it. Like Ron and I, we came to a really cool decision. He's into his music. He built himself a studio. He's up half the night. I live in my apartment and Ron lives in his apartment. And I enjoy me so much. I didn't realize how much I make myself laugh. If I'm watching TV, I'm cracking up. I'm telling jokes about characters on TV. I'm just loving the time with myself. I think that's very important. And I don't mind being introverted.
Yeah. I
don't mind. That's who I am.
Yeah.
I never did go to parties. I never did go to clubs. I wasn't that girl, so I'm with you, baby. And you're just as cute as you can be.
Yeah.
This has been so fun.
So fun. I'm so grateful. I know you are one busy woman, and
okay, but I'm shut down now. I'm home. I got the rest of the day.
All right, but you're introvert, so now you gotta go do your thing. Do your thing now. Thank you so much for being here, for sharing. Anything else you'd like to share that we didn't cover?
Just, hey, y'all. Practice self-love and self-care. Put you first. Make sure you're first. And that's not selfish. That is not selfish. You got to put your oxygen mask on first.
Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
Appreciate you.
Bye, baby.